Okay, so you're ready to run your first meeting. And we're just going to flip over to the user's guide and follow along. But um, we're going to review a few things and then you can run your meeting. First of all, the checklist is the building blocks of a lot of great things. Don't believe it? Read a book called The Checklist Manifesto. But just read through the checklist and the meeting should go extremely well. When there's something you need to create a task for, you create the task um, to get an expected result. Do not try to solve the problem on the spot. You hit add a task. Once you've added a couple, it'll be a cinch, and then you all you're trying to do is name the result that's needed to handle it. Who's going to be the captain of the task? In other words, they're going to be accountable to get it done, and when are they going to get it done by? You can add some teammates in to help them, but that's the basics of it. You do not try to solve the problem at this meeting. Then that's why meetings take so long. Two people have to solve a problem and 10 people stand around and listen to them, and then they go on to the next problem. Do not do that. Create a task and go on. It's important to have the right type of meeting. So just be sure you do that. In other words, a daily check in meeting is quick, covers the problems of the day. A strategic meeting, you may talk about one subject for 3 hours. Okay. There are different types of meeting. Use them correctly. An initiative check in meeting is a very helpful meeting. Okay. So, anyways, now, and you have the right people at the meeting. Okay. Don't have people at meetings for information only purposes, for example. So now the meeting, a daily check-in meeting and an initiative check-in meeting, a lot of meetings, they should be held standing up. It reduces the length of an average meeting by 50% just to stand up. Again, we do not solve the problem at the meeting. We just make a task and go on. There's only one conversation at a meeting, just one. That's who's facilitating it. And if somebody else has something to say. No sidebar conversations, no phones. It's an 8 to 12-minute meeting. You don't need that. Okay? Just focus on the meeting, get it done. You're be here. Okay? If you're at attending a meeting and you're running it, make sure people are actually in the meeting mentally and physically they're involved. Okay? Always be trying to improve the questions. Always be trying to improve the meeting, always be adding or taking questions out. It's a constant thing you can do all the time. And then copy the meetings. Not the same questions, but use that meeting format up and down the organization in different departments, in different shifts. You can have most places start out with one and they end up with, between the daily check ins and the initiatives, they end up with 20 some meetings. It works extremely well. And when your meetings are 8 to 12 minutes long, you can have more of them, which is fantastic. Okay, there are some abbreviations you need to be aware of. Uh, Demand immediate attention, DIA, ETBR, enjoy the business result. Remember, we're not about completing a task. In other words, the difference between enjoying the business result and completing a task is a machine's broke down. The ideal way to phrase the task is to get the machine back into full productivity. That is entirely different than the machines broke down, and I think it's the air hose. You make the task out, replace the air hose. The person replaces the air hose, but the machine still doesn't run. Now you have to create another task, and it's another meeting, and it slows things down dramatically. SLM, since last meeting. MATM, a meeting about the meeting. WMS, work management system. Hard break, we discussed that earlier, but this is where the meeting's over. Anybody can leave, no matter who wants continuing to talk. If they want to, everybody can, and as a general rule should. When it's a hard break, it's a hard break, go. All right, and it's not a career, a CLM, and a CLM is a career limiting move. Answering the questions, this is been discussed already. There's a separate video for how this works, but you just set it up. You may have to toggle the inline edit, but answer the questions as you go along, and that's why we have a separate operator from the person asking the questions. Okay, and then all meetings, the meetings held this way have this public square accountability. They are extremely useful. So get in there and show the task, ask about the task every meeting, go look them up, and do something about the late ones. Don't just look at them and say, oh, they're late. You say, when do you think you can have it done? Do you need some help? Those two questions are key. If you don't do that, you're failing to hold people accountable. Right? Don't Accountability is so hard in other systems, so easy in this system. Do it. Okay. Now, running the meeting. So you have an operator, that's the person operating the computer, and the facilitator or leader, that's the person who reads the questions. And you change them with regularity. You want everybody to be able to do both roles. Everybody else, stand in such a way so that everybody can see. There's no second rows, okay? There shouldn't be a back row. There's no side conversations. We already talked about that. And a few tips and tricks for getting the most out of these meetings, okay? Instead of sending someone an email, create them a task. That creates the accountability. They will get an email notification. The Workmaster thing works extremely well. When people stop in your office with a small problem, if it's not urgent, don't fix it right away. Say something like, well, that'd be a great question for the morning meeting. And then they'll bring it there. And you do that a few times, and people will stop interrupting you for no reason. When a problem comes up and it can wait, wait. All right. Make things part of the meeting as much as possible. All right. So now go run your first meeting.